Welcome all from Mohanji Pune Center. This morning is our book reading Seva, Guru Leela 1. So today we are on day 11 and I'm anticipating another 2 more sessions to complete the book. So stay tuned and we will continue reading. So the name of the chapter is The Waves I Rode to Reach My Sacred Bridge by Daloshni Govender from South Africa. A guru is not a crutch, he is a bridge. A guru is not someone who comes to offer support. He is the golden bridge which transports you from a state of unconsciousness to sublime consciousness. I offer at the lotus feet of my beloved Guru Brahma Rishi Mohanji the experience of my very first encounter with him and the divine grace which entered my life. I have always been a spiritual seeker and have always been intrigued by masters, gurus, but never had any urge to find one. I was in a very deep state of depression after I was forced to accept a job 600 kilometers away from my family owing to financial constraints. I had a lot of anger and stored emotions within me and truly felt that life owed me more than I was given. In October 2013, my husband called to tell me that there was a guru speaking at the Ganesh Chaturthi Puja in Durban. I was uninterested. My husband was fortunate enough to meet the said guru and told me that he was indeed a great man and I should meet him when he came to Gauteng. Again, I was uninterested. The wheel of negative fog surrounding me was indeed thick. My husband gave me the contact number of the person running the Guru's program and I called a few times with no success. So I felt that this was really a sign that this was not for me. A few weeks later, when I went home, my husband joyfully presented me with the book, The Power of Purity. I accepted it with thoughts of it being yet another book by yet another guru. I opened the book and found the words, To Daloshni with love, M. As I type this, waves of energy are pulsing through my body as I feel the sanctity of that moment. But at that time, I didn't realize the grace which was being delivered. I was to understand only later the impact of what had happened. Mohanji had blessed my husband and gifted the book to him, but autographed the book to me. I wasn't fortunate to meet Mohanji during his visit to South Africa, and the book lay in my flat for a few weeks, unopened, due to my depression and general disinterest in life. One afternoon, out of boredom, I opened the book and started reading it. The words started stirring something within me. The crystal clear clarity of the messages was astounding. I was finally beginning to understand this existence. The meditation which came with the book was even more mind blowing and took me to an inner space of deep peace. I found myself more relaxed and accepting of myself and the life I have chosen. The book became my permanent companion. I never went anywhere without it. I would even have colleagues at work approach me and request me to open any page to see what lesson we could learn that day. A few weeks later, I had met Mohanji for the first time, but it was not a physical meeting. I now understand that we had an astral meeting. I had a very vivid dream. I awoke feeling every sensation like it had actually happened. I dreamt that I was in a battle of swords with Mohanji and his followers. I dreamt that each time Mohanji would come close to me, I would run and my friends would help me escape. This was the type of experience which went on all night long, but at the end of the dream, I found myself alone. Mohanji was also finally alone. He was dressed in white and walking towards me, towering over me. I began running backwards in fear, unable to take my eyes off him. As he advanced, I slipped and fell onto my back and shouted, Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba Ki Jai, which means, Hail to the Divine Lord Satya Sai Baba. And then Om Shakti Parashakti, Divine Feminine Energy. Mohanji reached out to me. He was just pure light. He picked me up, embraced me, and called me affectionate names while holding me. He said to me, "Why are you running from me? You are an enlightened being." And he continued to console and comfort me. He then took me to a room with a table in it, and we both sat at the table, and like a teacher, he began teaching me. Up to this day, I have no idea what he taught me that night. After that dream, I was in a daze for a few days and didn't know what to think of it. I researched this guru online and tried to see how best I could contact him. I did not know that he was on Facebook, but I did find his profile on Speaking Tree. I sent him a message about my encounter, and to my utter delight, I received the following message a few days later. Dear Deloshini, I forwarded your message to him as Mohanji does not check his profile directly. He read your message and told you he is always with you and you are protected. There is nothing to worry about. Love, Bilyana Vosarevich from Mohanji Foundation. My life changed drastically within those months. I was blessed to meet Mohanji in his physical aspect in December that year, and he gave me Shakti Path in Arunachala. The growth, peace, and love which I have since been graced with, is evident in the smile I have on my face these days. My Guru came to me as destined, and at the time it was destined. As I now realize, the meeting with the Guru need not be a physical encounter. I rode many waves of despair, fatigue, and anguish in life, but I will ride them all over again if they take me to his feet. He appeared and provided a bridge for me between unconsciousness and sublime consciousness. I have never in my life felt this connected to divine as despite the many rituals and japa I used to do. Mohanji bridged the gap and allowed me to constantly feel divine love, even though gratitude is just a word, only my heart knows what I truly wish to express as gratitude. Love you always and over all lifetimes, Mohanji. Jai Brahma Rishi Mohanji. Next chapter, Mohanji and I Met by Rekha Murali from India. While contemplating on the various transformations happening within me and around me, there were some realizations on certain things which I feel are very important. Each one of us have a deep connection with Mohanji, but the way we accept it or sustain it is different. Some of us need his physical touch or presence, while others feel him within, being connected to his consciousness. As we connect, we become one with Mohanji. Even in this state, I sometimes can see the mind taking control, bringing in some negative influences through thought or word. The negative thoughts often come out of expectations. The question that came up was, I am connected to Mohanji, and with him beside me, what happens when such expectations arise? Reviewing some situations in which such negative thoughts occurred, I realized it was ownership of the situation that gave rise to the thought. At the same time, Mohanji also takes care of me in such situations. Whatever desire arose with the ownership, he fulfilled it. Why does he do that? He gently assures me that I am not wrong in thinking the way I did and that it is okay to feel so. I am not taken to task by Mohanji for having such a thought and feeling low because of it. By fulfilling the expectation, into brackets, if it doesn't harm me or others, he helps me to forget and move on. He solves these expectations through experiences, messages, or any way he thinks is right. All that I need to do is be aware and understand the way in which the situation has worked out. Thus, he removes the negativities, bringing in a sense of calm and emptiness inside. He then works his magic to fill me in what is needed for my elevation. Mohanji just accepts each of us so graciously, expecting nothing in return. So, being aware when such a thought arises is the first step. The second step is to surrender the thought expectation to him. Mohanji then handholds us through our journey with love and compassion. So, let us surrender with faith and gratitude to our beloved Master. Let us hold his extended hand and be confident that whatever he does is for our highest good. One such incident where Mohanji lovingly took care of me and at the same time showed me how he did it was huge lesson that I will cherish forever. Recently, I was initiated into becoming a medium of Mohanji Energy Transfer, MET. All charged up and excited, I was ready to act as a conduit for Mohanji in the weekly POP conducted every Sunday in Chennai, India. The POP that I planned to give energy transfer was to be held on December 2nd, 2018, but of course Mohanji had other and better plans for me. Here's what happened. Being a South Indian, I am fond of my morning filter coffee. However, as I strongly felt that the mind has to be controlled with immediate effect, I decided to stop the coffee overnight. It was also causing acidity in me. So on December 1st, I just didn't have any morning coffee. All was well till lunchtime, but developed a severe migraine at the back of my head, and slowly the nausea and vomiting started. This continued for almost 6 to 7 hours. The gross mind immediately told me that it was the withdrawal symptoms of stopping my favorite black coffee. I silently prayed to Mohanji and I went to meet my family physician, but again, that was not to be. The doctor didn't turn up. By then, the vomiting stopped, but the pounding in the head continued, and I was exhausted. The head felt very heavy throughout. As a regular Kriya practitioner, I somehow managed to do the 10-minute Kriya too. I had done one in the morning, luckily, and hit the bed. My plan of going for the POP session the next day came crashing down. There was no way I could attend the POP session and give Mohanji's energy transfer as I could barely stand up the next morning. I listened to the craving of my mind and had a small cup of regular coffee in the morning, thinking that that was the cause for the headache. The gratification lasted for about an hour. The pounding of the head commenced again, this time the side of the head, and I neatly climbed back into bed. I lay in that state the entire Sunday, praying to Mohanji and chanting the Mohanji Gayatri whenever I remembered. By evening, the pain subsided a little into dull throb, enabling me to complete my Kriya. The pattern repeated itself again the next morning, and I could not go to work. But now 3 full days had gone by. Gradually, I started feeling better. The only surprising thing that I was able to keep up my that that I was able to keep up my Kriya practice. I continued taking half a cup of light coffee. One thing I need to mention here is that I had very powerful dreams of Mohanjis, snakes, blessings of Mohan, masters, etc. In spite of the headache, sleep was scarce, but the dreams in the short spells were strange and powerful. The fourth day finally dawned. The head felt so light with just a slight headache remaining. I felt as if I had lifted a load off my head and put it down. I also felt unusually happy with a skip in my step, commenced my daily routine. I went to work and had a beautiful day. I thanked Mohanji sincerely and went about my work having avoided medication. Little did I understand what my Guru, in all his love and compassion, had planned for me. In the meantime, there was severe pain in the left shoulder and the nape of my neck. I just ignored it, confident that Mohanji was working on me, and continued with my routine. The headache was like wearing a crown with slight heaviness around the head. In spite of this, my Kriya sessions were very powerful and my entire body would pulsate with energy while doing the Kriya. The region of the forehead, eyes, and face would throb, and I could sense the pulse in every part of my body. It was as though the region round the Agnya Chakra and above were activated. I still didn't realize the impact of what Mohanji was doing for me. I loved the sensations, thanked the masters, and stuck to my practice. This continued the whole of the previous week. A lot of pent up emotions were also surfacing, and I would be in tears while doing Kriya, and the breathing would accelerate. Soon, my friend Revati asked me about our plan for doing a 360-degree meditation together. We decided to conduct it on 7th December, and I quickly posted an invite in the Chennai group. Before I knew it, 7 of us met at my place for the meditation, including 2 newcomers. By then, I felt it was the right time to do Mohanji's energy transfer for the participants and surrendered the intention to Mohanji. I did the Gayatri, sought his blessings, and we commenced the meditation at the appointed time. The entire meditation session was highly charged and the room was filled with Mohanji's energy. Quietly, I commenced the energy transfer, all the time fully conscious of the fact that Mohanji was working through me and I was just a conduit. I felt such deep connection as though I had just merged into his consciousness. Tears rolled down my cheeks, drenching me as I moved from one person to another. My whole being was throbbing with Mohanji's energy, but there was a feeling of calmness and bliss within me. My heart overflowed with unconditional love and compassion towards each participant. In an instant, I realized that this is what Mohanji feels when he looks at us. He showers us with his unconditional love and blissful energy that makes us feel so safe and happy in his aura. I could sense the energy flowing through my hands and out of me onto the other person, as though an autopilot. I moved from one person to another, not knowing what I was doing. I was aware of just one fact. I was the medium, and Parabrahma was working through me. The sense of doership fell off completely as I stood overwhelmed, immersed in his energy. Once the energy transfer was completed, I sat down quietly and joined the meditation. My entire body was throbbing and felt so vibrant, but tears flowed ceaselessly and the breath began coming out in gaps. I realized I was also being showered with his energy and cleansing was happening. At the end of the session, each one shared their beautiful and powerful experiences, and we wrapped up the satsang with the Shiva Kavacham. The story does not end here. I was blissfully unaware of the reason why things had unfolded as they did. The next morning, which is Saturday, I listened to the audio testimonial of Sujata on my way to work. I was so overwhelmed and mesmerized by her narration, and the sincere power of her words washed over me. Once it was over, I switched off all sounds of the rest of my drive, just contemplating on what she shared. It was then the moment of understanding hit me. Everything clicked into place. Tears of gratitude flowed, and I really don't know how I reached my destination that day. All the events of the past week came rushing back, and they unfolded step by step. The reason for the delay in giving Mohanji's energy transfer, my so called sickness, and the final meditation session were all orchestrated by dear Mohanji. I was not totally empty as a channel for his energy to flow. Mohanji had to work on me over time to clear and cleanse me and prepare me to receive his energy. The migraine, the vomiting, the heaviness, all these were part of cleansing process. I also realized that once the headache left me, I had a feeling of emptiness within me. I had just carried on with my daily activities with a sense of acceptance and calm. What kept me going were my sadhana practices of Mohanji Gayatri, Arati, and Kriya. Mohanji kept me in that state, a state of emptiness, so that I could carry out my seva activities too. He had kept me empty and connected with him. I just flowed through the day, not even aware he was working on me. The pain around the head was also a clearing of the various chakras enhanced by Kriya practice. No wish is left unfulfilled by him. All that is required is complete surrender to him. He takes care of each one of us and does everything in a thorough manner, every job to completion. Mohanji was doing his job. I am eternally grateful to you, dear Mohanji. You are an ocean of love and compassion. Thank you for each and every blessing that you have showered on me and for being by my side every moment. Jai Brahma Rishi Mohanji. We can stop here for the day. Thank you for being with me through this session. Just at the end of this session, I would like to share some thoughts of Mohanji that I read this morning that were posted on Instagram. So it is really a wake up call, like you really feel the agony of the cruelty happening to animals. The thought that Mohanji shared was like, he actually gave the numbers, like around billions of animals and trillions of sea animals are killed every year to satisfy some human food needs, which is actually not a food need at all in the first place. And besides the numbers, what he said, which really pricked into my heart, is like these animals are being bred and then bred to be killed. and these animals have to suffer in silence. And these are defenseless animals, and there is no voice around. There is nobody talking for them. There is nobody talking about them. And he also said that, like, giving it a legal and religious approvals is what is causing, to unsee and to unspeak about them. So it's high time we feel the agony, and we speak, we be the voice for them. So let's all pledge to embrace ahimsa and love the animals and all beings around us. Stay blessed, stay happy. Jai Mohanji. Thank you.